Hello, my lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. And here's what's on my mind today. So I want to talk a little bit about the dangers of promoting cures or preventatives for COVID-19, for coronavirus. Some are fairly innocuous. There's a big one making the rounds, which obviously we'll get to, which is in the description, which I think is very, very dangerous. There's some very dangerous misinformation coming out about this particular treatment. So let's go through, quickly just rattle off some of the kind of innocuous ones. So when this first came about, there was a lot of talk about sort of dietary things. So garlic was one that came up. Eat garlic, it prevents coronavirus. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. There's absolutely no science behind it. But that was just fairly innocuous. You know, you're not going to overdose from taking garlic, so it's misinformation, but I don't think anyone's going to take it thinking, well, this will protect me. But again, potentially maybe somebody did, and then you get to a lot of people doing it for commercial gain, like the online stuff. There's a lot of online fitness people putting out certain diets which prevent coronavirus, you know, so there's some will promote the carnivore diet because, you know, it boosts the immune system, it does this, that, and the other, to prevent coronavirus. And then there's some promoting the vegan diet and all this kind of stuff. And they've all got agendas and they've all got, you know, this does this, a study says this. Oh, by the way, buy my program, which will do this. Okay, so just to be clear, I used to be a personal trainer and I've got qualifications in nutrition. There is no diet which is going to stop you getting this disease. There's not. There's nothing dietary. There's no cure for it at the minute. What I would say, healthy, balanced diet to keep your immune system strong. Is it going to prevent you getting this? No. But COVID-19, the coronavirus, attacks your respiratory system. So I would say have a nice, healthy, balanced diet to give you a good, strong system. And if you can, even if you're on lockdown like myself, like everybody, do some sort of cardiovascular exercise. Give yourself nice, strong lungs and pulmonary and respiratory system, because then you give yourself a fighting chance. You give yourself the best chance that you can have. I'm not saying it's going to change anything, but that's in regards to dietary advice, that's about as good as you're going to get. Eat healthy, make sure your body's nice and strong, make sure as fit and active as you can be, obviously within the boundaries that have been set by the quarantine and social distancing. But that's it. But again, that's besides the point. These things, although they don't work, are not particularly harmful to you. If you eat a certain type of diet, if it's balanced, nutritionally balanced, is not going to do you any harm. If you eat garlic, it's not going to do you any harm. Promoting a drug, a pharmaceutical, as a cure, could potentially do you harm. And the argument has been, what have you got to lose? Everything. And here's why. So obviously the drug I'm talking about is hydroxychloroquine. It has been all over the news in the United States. They're really pushing it as a potential treatment to the coronavirus. Okay, so a little bit about it. Hydroxychloroquine is an oral medication sold under the brand name Plaquenil, among others. Is a medication used to prevent and treat malaria in areas where malaria remains sensitive to chloroquine. Other uses include treatment for rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and porphyria cutanea tarda. Hydroxychloroquine was approved for medical use in the United States in 1955. It is on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines, the safest and most effective medicines needed in the health system. In 2017, it was the 128th most prescribed medication in the United States with more than 5 million prescriptions. So for what it does it very well, and it's very well prescribed. So therefore, it sounds like it's quite well tolerated as well. So what have you got to lose? Potentially everything. So let me just run through a few side effects of this. So with this being promoted as a cure for COVID-19, and I'll get to why it's not and why you shouldn't believe that it is in a minute. Okay, but here are a few of the common adverse effects. So this is taken from Wikipedia, okay? So most common adverse effects are a mild nausea, occasional stomach cramps with mild diarrhea. Okay, that's worth it to save your life, yeah? The most serious adverse effects are, with the eye, a dose-related retinopathy, and the concern over hydroxychloroquine use is discontinued. For short-term treatment of acute malaria, adverse effects can include abdominal cramps, diarrhea, heart problems, reduced appetite, headache, nausea and vomiting. For prolonged treatment of lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, adverse effects include acute symptoms plus altered eye pigmentation, acne, anemia, bleaching of hair, blisters in the eyes and mouth, blood disorders, convulsions, vision difficulties, diminished reflexes, emotional changes, excessive colouring of the skin, hearing loss, hives, itching, liver problems, liver failure, loss of hair, muscle paralysis, weakness or atrophy, nightmares, psoriasis, reading difficulties, tinnitus, skin inflammation and scaling, skin rash, vertigo, weight loss, and occasionally urinary incontinence. Children may be especially vulnerable to developing adverse effects from hydroxychloroquine. Okay, so they're the side effects, but however, you can read any medicine. You can get just a nice kind of simple basic aspirin, vitamin C, and there'll be lots of potential side effects on there because it's going to affect a small percentage of the population, maybe in a negative way. So maybe that's just scaremongering. Let's read the overdose thing. Okay. Due to rapid absorption, symptoms of overdose can occur within half an hour to an hour after ingestion. Overdose symptoms include convulsions, drowsiness, headache, heart problems or heart failure, breathing difficulty, and vision problems. Breathing difficulty. If you've got coronavirus, it's attacking your respiratory system. You've got difficulty breathing. If you then take an untested medicine whose one of its overdose potentials is difficulty breathing, you're compounding the problem. Okay? So, yeah, and you're just going to say, well, I'm not going to overdose. How do you know what the effective dose is for coronavirus? Even if it worked, which it's not been proven, I will reiterate, it has not been proven. There is no study so far which says it is. And I'll get to why studies are very important in a minute. So you don't know the dose you're taking is going to be effective, even if it's an effective drug, or if it's going to be an overdose. If you're going to need enough of it to kill the coronavirus, which will give you potentially an overdose of the drug in regards to the ailments, so this kind of thing. Also, it interacts. They've not talked about this. The drug transfers into breast milk and should be used with care by pregnant or nursing mothers. Care should be taken if combined with medication altering liver function, as well as, that's a big one, orthoglucose, Solganol, Tagamet or Lenoxin. Hydroxychloroquine can increase plasma concentrations of penicillamine, which can also contribute to the development of severe side effects. It enhances the hypoglycemic effects of insulin and oral hypoglycemic agents. Dose altering is recommended to prevent profound hypoglycemia, so low blood sugar. So if you're on insulin, if you're diabetic and you're taking insulin and you take this, it increases the effect of the insulin. Here's a few other little just interactions which you may need to be aware of if you're considering taking this. So we have, let's have a look. This is the drug, the FDA have labelled it like this. So this is their list, the Federal Drug Administration have put this list on it. Insulin or anti-diabetic drugs where it may enhance the effects of the hypoglycemic treatment. Drugs at prolonged QT interval with other arrhythmogenic drugs. Prolonged QT interval may increase the risk of inducing ventricular arrhythmias if used concurrently. So heart palpitations. Mefloquine and other drugs known to lower the convulsive threshold. Co-administration with other antimalarials known to lower the convulsion threshold may increase the risk of convulsions. Antiepileptics. Concurrent use may impair the antiepileptic activity. I apologise for butchering some of these names. But yeah, essentially there is a whole lot of things that this can go wrong with. This is not a safe drug. It is safe for what it's done within the boundaries it's used for. The problem is now what's being suggested is outside of those boundaries, as far as I'm concerned. And everyone's saying, well, it needs to be studied, which it absolutely does in regards to its effectiveness for COVID-19. And the president was on saying, just take it. Just take it. What have you got to lose? Potentially you've got to lose your life. Because all these other things it can do. And there's no proven data so far that it cures coronavirus. Now, there has been lots of anecdotal stuff from doctors saying, I gave my patient this and they got better. Or we treated them with this and their symptoms improved, they got better, they got better. This is why you need studies and double-blind studies and all this kind of thing. Because, let's face it, at the minute, coronavirus is killing a lot of people. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But when it first came out, the mortality rate was pitched somewhere at 2%. Now, it's changed in regards territory. So certain areas are having, in regards cases confirmed and mortality, as high as 9%. But there's some as low as 0.66%. So say you take an average, say you take 5%. Say the mortality rate of coronavirus is 5%. That means out of everybody who gets it, 95% of people are getting better anyway. They're getting better anyway. They're recovering. So you don't know, because you haven't tested it clinically in proper studies, you don't know that giving somebody this hydroxychloroquine is actually the reason they're getting better, or if they're just getting better. Okay, so let's just go with me here. Let's take out hydroxychloroquine and put in the word banana. Doctors have said anecdotally that they get patients with coronavirus, they gave them a banana and their symptoms got better. That is also true. Because a lot of these people, the 95% of people who are catching it and recovering, may have eaten a banana, may have had a coffee. And and I'm sorry, it sounds fantastic. It's not. It's exactly the same thing. You cannot tell me that hydroxychloroquine, as it stands now, is any more effective for curing coronavirus than a cup of coffee. Why? Because it's not been studied. It's not been studied. And of all these 95% of cases who are recovering, a lot of them, let's say, a lot of them are coffee drinkers. So maybe coffee's making them better because they drank coffee while they were ill and they got better. That is no different from saying they tried this tablet and they got better. Because you don't know the tablet is what's making them better. That's why you need to test it. And saying it's a cure because people take it and get better is foolish. It's dangerous. Because unlike the garlic thing and the diet thing, whereby if you buy a program online, you might lose a few quid, but essentially you just get a diet. If you eat garlic, you might stink a little bit, but garlic does have health properties. It's not going to cure your coronavirus, it's not going to prevent it, but it's not going to do any harm. This could potentially do you harm. So, with all that being said, why would they promote it? Why is it being pushed so hard? There is a potential answer here. Okay, now I'm going to quote from an article. This is from the Daily Beast, and it's an excerpt from the New York Times. Now, I have not checked any further than this article, so if it's not the case, I will give you that heads up. So, this is what it says. President Donald Trump has a small financial interest in the drug maker, the anti-malarial drug that he's been touting as a game changer. According to the New York Times, over the past 2 weeks, Trump and his Fox News allies have aggressively promoted hydroxychloroquine as a potential cure, despite top infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci urging caution and noting that there was not enough evidence of the drug's efficacy. The Times reports that the president's family trusts all have investments in a mutual fund whose largest holding is Sanofi, the manufacturer of Plaquenil, the brand name version of hydroxychloroquine. Associates of the president, including Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, have also run funds that hold investments in the pharmaceutical firm. So, potentially, that's why it's being pushed. Now, let me just say, I'm very lucky at the minute. I don't have anybody who's suffering from this. If you've got somebody you love and care about deeply in your life, and they are going through this, and they are in a very bad way, you will try anything. I would try anything. I would sell my soul if I thought it would save my parents, my loved ones, my kids' life. Of course you would, because you love them and you want them to get better. So people are going to try this. The thing is, when you say what have you got to lose, it makes it sound like if you get this, it's a death sentence. That's the problem. That's the danger. It makes it sound like if you get coronavirus, it's going to kill you. So what have you got to lose? So buy this drug. And you're like, no, because 95% of people who get it will get better. And I would imagine by the time it's at a point where, you know what, you're not going to recover from this. Administration of this drug probably won't help anyway if it gets to that point. I'm not sure, I'm not a doctor. But the fact it's unproven, the fact it's been pushed so hard, and the fact that it has so many side effects, the overdoses can happen quickly. It said within half an hour to an hour. Symptoms will start to show. Some of them are, difficulty breathing, which is a main effect of coronavirus. You compound those two together, and again, there is no evidence. Now, if they do a double-blind study and say, yeah, you know what, it's effective, absolutely, go for it. But this is why untested things need to be tested. This is why you need that rubber stamp, because you could do more harm than good, fatally so. And the danger is because people have got coronavirus and they may be not getting this from the doctor, maybe they're getting it online. Because people will be going into surgeries and hospitals saying, I want this, and supply is going to be running low. So people are going to turn to online sellers, and they might be getting the product which is not as good, it's not made as regulated. There's a lot of shady people out there who are going to sell you this kind of stuff. My fear is, or one of my fears, is that people who have coronavirus, who might take this, could experience the side effect of difficulty breathing, and they could die. And it's not going to go down as they died because they took hydroxychloroquine. They're going to go down as they had breathing difficulty from COVID-19 and that killed them. Even though the drug actually exacerbated the symptoms, potentially, if they overdosed on it, if they were susceptible to one of these particular side effects from it. So I guess all I'm saying is take pause. I know if people in your life are suffering, you would try anything to make them better. But I'm just saying, direct your energy to something. It's easy to grasp at straws when you're suffering. But just please don't fall for this. You've got to be so careful taking any kind of medication, any kind of cure or touted cure, which is not tested and approved. So like I say, if they test this and they say, you know what, yeah, it is effective. Yes, there's side effects, but there's a greater risk, there's greater reward from trying it and from taking it than there is risk from potential side effects. Absolutely, then get it out there. And I would applaud anybody who pursues that, does them tests, gets it rubber stamped, and gets everybody out of this horrible mire that we're in. But please, just be aware, just watch out for these kind of things, and do your research as much as you can, and don't fall for something when it's not proven. Because best case scenario, it doesn't do any good. Worst case scenario, it makes you worse. So anyway, that's my thought, guys. As usual, as I've been saying in all these videos, like, stay safe, stay in touch, use the internet what it's used for, keep in touch with people you can't be there physically with, prop them up, get them to prop you up, don't be by yourself. Until next time, bye for now.